just starting to do the intro. Can you hear him? It's Steve. Bob, do you mind? It's Steve here, Woodworking Masterclass. And we're continuing with part 2 of the Marta B pencil case collection. But before I get into it, I know I've got a lot of viewers over in Sweden and Denmark and Norway and what have you. And I've got a couple of people from Sweden that just popped in to say g'day. And they're friends of Benno Johnson. So Benno, mate, if you're watching, cheers. I promise I'll give you a cheerio. And I've got that absolutely gorgeous bracelet on that you sent. So I hope you're feeling better. Stay away from those ladders and enjoy the time in the shed. But anyway, welcome a couple of guests on. That was what Bob was going off about.
That's mine. No. That's mine.
Hawken, John, you coming in? Yeah. Say hi to friends and...
Nice to see you.
Get in the camera. You might as well be in the middle. That's it. Say good day and what have you.
Yeah. Harriet. Okay.
That's it. Well, that was exciting, wasn't it? What he's bought me. Oh, look at this.
Horn from Benno.
Moose horn.
Moose horn, exactly.
Apparently I can make a soup out of it. I'm not sure if that's true or not. But we'll see what we can do with that down the track.
Benno gave you this one last time, for a couple of months ago.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Used that on one of the projects.
What?
What's it called? Tumstick.
Tombstock.
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 Tombstock. New words.
Break this one. Have a new one here.
Look at that. Hey, isn't it nice? Isn't it nice?
Yeah.
Famous in my own lunchtime. There you go. Well, thank you. And
It's more for his Benno. It's exactly Mora kniv from Sweden. New one. It's sharp and nice for your woodwork.
I'll let Bob chew on that one. Where is it? There you go. Go. You'll wear it in a minute, boy. I tell you. I tell you what. That mate, you look after me too well. You really do. Thank you, but I tell you what, I'll swap you. I've got one of these. This is one of these self-propelling measuring tape. It works in reverse. So have fun with that. Sit down when you use it. Ours a pleasure. And I'll tell you what I'll do. Mate, so you can crack some walnuts when you're around the fire down in your shed having a beer or three. So I'll give these to Harkin because I believe he's going to be out back, 10th of May?
Yeah, 10th of May.
10th of May. So all the best and hi to everyone out there in Sweden and Norway and Denmark. I really hope you're enjoying the show. And I've got to settle Ben. My voice is going, I'm so excited. I've got to settle Bob down because he's starting to sniff the moose antler and he's not getting it. So anyway, I'll just say goodbye and then we'll start doing some more projects. So Benno, once again, good on you, mate. Cheers from Australia. That was really nice. But getting back to these boxes, these two were the first ones we did last episode or last video. And I pointed out what I don't particularly like about this. Now, this is a really basic one. It's basically 4 bits of timber with a top and a bottom, and I cut 1 saw slot in it, and that goes all the way around, and then the ends just butt joined like that. What that does, which I didn't like, is it leaves these ends of slots exposed, and you've got a lot of end grain. The next one we did was actually what they call a half lap joint, and I've cut away a section here on the 2 sides, which is to the depth of what the slot was. So then we butt join this end piece in between the 2 rebates that I've cut. That's called a half lap joint. Now that takes care of covering these holes up because it's nice and flat. But you still do have a bit of end grain there, which sometimes isn't an issue. But again, it's a pretty basic sort of box. So what I want to do now is see if I can get away from the end grain. And also what I don't like on both of these boxes is the bottom is just stuck on there. So what I want to do on this next one, I've already pre-cut some of it. I'm actually going to do a mitered joint. Now a mitered joint is one that's cut at 45 degrees so it fits together like that. And you'll notice when that fits together, then you don't see any end grain there. And they're cut at 45 degrees, so you can cut them. That actually was done on a table saw. You could cut them on a bandsaw, you could cut them on a chop saw or a drop saw. You can make a miter box. You can buy little wooden miter boxes from hardware shops, or if you search the auction sites, there's still a few of these around, and these are absolutely brilliant because you can cut 45s, you can cut 30 degrees, I don't know what else is on there, 50 degrees possibly, 22.5, which is for an 8-sided box, and of course 90 degrees. So I use this a lot when I was doing live demos, and sometimes I'll use it in the shed, but for the ease of making videos, it's much easier to do it on a table saw. It's quicker. Oh, it's heavy too. So what I'm going to do differently when I cut the slots for this, because I want to get rid of this bottom, I'm actually going to cut a slot right on the very edge of the bottom, the thickness of the saw blade. And if you can remember from the last video, these bottoms I'm using are the same thickness as my saw blade. So if I cut down the edge on the saw, it's going to give me a gap that will hide this base. And then for the top, I'll cut the slot in exactly the same position as I've cut these. Right, now there we have it. I've cut this piece off again. You can see down here, better here, there's a slot cut there, actually a rebate, and a slot in the top. That means that when I cut the base up, it's going to fit in there nice and flush. So then you won't see the bottom here. Putting mitered boxes together. As with any end grain that you stick together, end grain is very, very porous, and consequently it will suck the glue in very quickly. Let's turn that off. It will suck the glue in very quickly. So what I recommend and what I do in anything that I'm doing, definitely mitered joints, and sometimes on butt joints or half lap joints, I do what they call is sizing the joint. Now to size the joint, it's very easy. Just get some glue and just smear it on the ends like that. You put it together exactly the same way as we did these two over here. Re-glue, and you'll find the glue this time won't soak in as much, and a lot more of the glue will stay on the surface, which is exactly what you want. Now just line them up. Elastic band, just push it down. So what you want is all these joints here to be nice and flush. And here, where we've got the lid's going to go in, just make sure there's no glue in the track. I want you to make whatever size you want. Don't follow what I do, because if you're following what I do to the exact measurements, you're copying what I do. Whereas what I'd like to do is actually inspire you to be creative, teach you the techniques, share with you how to do things, but then you go and put your own stamp on it, your own personality into it. All right, now there's the bit cut to size. And as always, it's a little bit oversized because it's much easier to fine fit by shaving a little bit off than trying to stick something back on. I'll just take a whisker off of that. And there we have a nice tight fitting bottom. I also want to do a solid timber top. Now again, if I do a solid timber top and I, get in the garbage bin here, and I get 3mm, which is the size I need for this slot, the solid timber isn't going to be very strong because the grain's going to be running along this way, and if it gets much flex, there's every chance it can break. So what I need is a thicker top, and yet I still want it to fit in this slot. There's a couple of ways you can do it. This is an old chest set that I've got, and it's a machine-made box. You can see it's got box joints there and a sliding lid, and the sliding lid is level with the top. Now how they do that is they get the lid and then run a saw cut straight down the side that lines up with the slot inside the box. That's fine. A couple of things I don't like about that. I'm not a great lover of finger joints because basically they're done with a machine and it's a mechanised process. The other thing I don't like with this style of lid is, as you can see, I think this has got to be about 40, 50 years old, and that timber lid has shrunk, and as it's shrunk, it's come away from the sides of the box, and therefore you've got these gaps here. To me, I like something a little bit more arty, and what I want to do is actually put a slope on mine. So the first one I'll do is I'll get a solid bit of timber, which I've got here, and as you can see it's a lot thicker than the slot. That's now cut down to the size I want. So now what I want to do is measure the width of this slide, which, if you remember, is the width of the saw blade. In my case that's 3 mil. Set up a marking gauge, and from the bottom, so work out which you want as the top. So this is going to be the bottom. So I'll just mark this as the top, and this is going to be the bottom. So from the bottom, I'm going to measure up 3 mil, which is the size of my saw blade, and I'm going to mark that on 3 sides.